Okay, great, thank you. We'll bring this meeting of the Planning and Zoning Commission of Grand Marais to order. We have our agenda before us. Any comments or anything?
No, a motion to approve the consent agenda.
Great, thank you.
So moved.
All right. First and second. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. All right, motion passes. We have a conditional use permit today from Michelle. And do you guys have questions of your own right away?
No, I think if there's anybody that wants to speak to it, or if we've had any.
Yeah,
messages or
we didn't
comments.
get any.
We've got to brush off our hearing process on the page one, I guess. It's been a couple of months. We didn't receive any written comments. I did receive one phone call today from one of the neighbors.
Okay,
I asked her to send an email, but I haven't received it yet.
okay,
She wasn't in favor of the request.
not in favor, okay, very good. Thank you. All right. Does anybody in the audience want to speak? Sir, if you could say your name when you get up there.
Hi, I'm Tom Supernaut, and with Lisa Haney. We live directly across the street at 410 Second Avenue West.
Okay,
We have a number of questions and concerns regarding the proposed business at 411 Second Avenue West. From the GM Planning and Zoning memo dated March 26, 2026, quoted, "In the city of Grand Marais, a conditional use permit can be granted only if all of the following apply." There's 4 items mentioned in that. I'm gonna highlight 2. Number 2, the use is compatible with the existing neighborhood. We believe that any business, not a nail salon, any business should not be in an R1 permanent residential district. No business fits into our neighborhood. Number 4, the location and character of the proposed use is considered to be consistent with the desirable pattern of development for the area. I don't believe that permanent R1 residential district is appropriate for any business. Under the Grand Marais Comprehensive Plan Goals and Policies under residential areas, number 2 states to protect property values. Having a business in an R1 permanent residential district will not protect our property value. It will do the opposite and decrease our property value. Stated in the application, and I quote, "Services will be limited to a small number of clients per week." What is a small number? 5, 10, 30, 50? What guarantee will they have that this will remain small? Most businesses grow. As businesses grow, traffic increases and parking, on-street parking becomes an issue. Number 2, as stated in the application, and I quote, "The scale of the business will remain small and will not change the character of the neighborhood." The business will change the neighborhood. Second Avenue West is a narrow street. A business will increase street parking and increase traffic, which will decrease our property values. We have already seen an increase on the street parking because we believe the business is already up and running. Also, I know this is outside of the scope of the Planning and Zoning Commission, but it is a concern. Does this business meet the requirements of the state of Minnesota? Does the business meet the requirements of Minnesota Administration Rule 2105.0360, which requires a license from the Minnesota Board of Cosmetology Examiners, BCE? All technicians performing services must hold a valid Minnesota nail technician license. Does it comply with all physical requirements for nail salons as stated in Admin Rule 2105.0360? A question to you guys. If this business is not licensed by the BCA and the state, would you, the GM Planning and Zoning Commission, approve the application? We've talked to some of our neighbors, Grace Flow, 403 Second Avenue West, contact 225-397-0805. Val and Joe Mertz, 407 Second Avenue West, 218-205-0405. That they also oppose the proposed business. In closing, we feel, for the reasons stated, this does not meet the conditional use permit requirements of the City of Grand Marais Planning and Zoning R1 Permanent Resident District. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Tom.
Thanks.
Anybody else?
My name is Michelle Maldonado. I'm the nail technician. I would like you guys to read this
Well, thank you.
first. This is the original copy. I have 16 years of experience doing nails. I did stop for a while since I moved here. Then I have kids. So obviously kids sometimes put past to your dreams. I moved to this town and fell in love with it. And work in the brewery. I work at the pharmacy as a pharmacy tech also. I'm a medical biller and coder. But my dreams are in doing nails. That's what I know to do since I was like 16 years old. And thank you so much. I thought that I had no opportunity to grow in nails in this, especially in this town, because it's so small. But I did see a necessity. Let's say there's a lot of people that drive to Duluth or to Canada to get their nails done, and it's a lot. Driving to Duluth is a lot, especially for groceries. Nails are another thing. About the concerns about traffic and parking and the amount of clients that I will have per day. Technically, I'm only one nail tech. There's no way I can have more than one person at a time. I have a big driveway. Currently, sometimes I park a car outside, sometimes just because there's a lot of snow accumulated in the side, so I don't have a lot of space right now. But there's like, literally, there's 4 cars that can fit there, and I will never have four clients at the same time, only one, because I'm only one. Appointments cannot overlap either, because I have 2 hands. About noises, it's really quiet. It's like a home office-based business, you know, like talking client with me, doing the nails, that's it. No loud music or anything. It's gonna be a low-impact business. I will not have any signs showing up that there is a home-based studio there, especially because I have kids and I don't want anyone knocking on my door. So that will be like private. That's my main idea, is to keep my business private and only by appointment. I do not have any plans of expanding, because doing that will be playing against myself. Expanding means having more nail techs. Technically, on my business, we'll be having more nail techs, which will be technically playing against me. Because if I'm the only one, I'll have more clients. And then, yeah, my goal is to provide professional service, maintaining, you know, the peace and what this town is known for, which is peace, and everyone is friendly. And that's my goal with everyone. I don't know, you guys have any questions?
Yeah, so does your license have any limit?
My what, I'm
as
sorry?
to- Does the license limit you in any way in terms of the number of clients you can have or anything like that?
No, it does not limit me. It does, as soon, let's say that I get approval, then I can go ahead, which I actually went ahead and sent some paperwork to the Board of Cosmetology, because they do require more licensing to approve, not to approve, but to open a business. if I own it, you know? So with this, I can work, but I cannot own a place officially and just have it open to public. So for me to have it open in a way that I can get clients, I have to apply for a license, which is called a salon manager license, which I already applied and it's supposed to be here in 5 days, I think. And after that, I have to apply to another license, which is, it will require, I believe, an inspection from Board of Cosmetology.
Okay,
But I cannot apply for that one yet. First, because I have to wait for the 5 days for my license to be here. And second of all, because I don't have a space that they will see and they will approve. Because we are not under construction, but we're, putting like the insulating and putting the nice drywall and putting everything nice. Because it needs, safety first.
right.
It has to be everything according to the safety standards, and that's what we're doing
Okay,
before I can apply for that. So then they will not have anything to go, and look at it.
okay. Are there any rules about, I guess one thing I've heard of is like fumes related
No,
to that?
so that's a good question also. I do not work with acrylic and monomers. Those are the ones that usually have strong smell and chemical. Mine are based on gel, and they are professional grade nail gels and products. So even though I'm not gonna work with acrylic, I will have ventilation, proper ventilation. Plus, I also will be summer. Hopefully, it would let me to open a little bit the windows, but still, I will put the ventilation. That's part of the plan,
Okay,
just in case I want to do a deep cleaning and I want to,
so the
have everything ventilated.
ventilation will be, it kind of sounds like you're building a separate space, and the ventilation will be for that room or in that room?
It'll be in that room.
Okay. Thank you. Commissioners?
Are you taking clients now?
I what?
Are you working now? Are you taking clients now for nails?
Not in my house.
Not on the property?
Not on the property. I've been having visit, but it's because my kid, we believe that he has autism and he's getting evaluations to see if he actually has it or not. So far, we heard that he needs some extra help to grow as a normal person, but.
Amanda?
I don't know if I have questions necessarily. What would you expect? So if you were the only person that would be doing the service, what is your expectation of like, I imagine it would change daily, right? Some days you might have a slow day and some days you might have a busy day, but what would a busy day be?
Yeah.
Busy day, 3 clients a day, I think.
3 a day?
Because, my services are not like quick services, like if you go to a normal salon in Duluth, they work per time and they like to, do the nails and let's go, leave, pay and leave. In my case, I do have an idea of providing like luxury type of services. It will require time for me to do a proper, safe manicure, which it require time. If you want, I'm sorry that I didn't brought that, but the type of manicure that I do, it doesn't require water, which means it's a Russian dry manicure. Same with pedicure, it will be dry pedicure, will not require any type of water. With that said, I will have to use some implements that I have to work in the cuticle area, which means if I don't work slow enough to, with care, I can hurt the client. There's no way I can do quick things and have 20 clients a day. That's not possible. Not even 5 sounds possible. So I think the busiest, 3 clients. The slower, 0 or 1. So.
And what, sorry, Anton?
Yeah, no, go ahead.
I was just wondering about like time of day.
That I will work?
Yeah,
It's probably just like 8 to 3 or 8 to 5 a.m. maybe 7 a.m., I'm not sure. Since it's not like, I have kids too, there's not options for me to work after hours.
Okay. So, and you feel like a maximum number in a day, did you say 5?
No, I will say 4, honestly. It's just like every client will take me around 3 hours. That's the last time it'll take me. So 3, I will say, is a normal day.
Okay.
And as I said, their appointments cannot even overlap. And, they can park on my driveway, totally. I have plenty of space of my driveway.
Okay. Yeah, the off-street parking would be really important to have. So if you've got it, you'll need to have that set aside for
What, I'm sorry?
you'll have to have any off-street parking you have.
Yeah.
Will need to be set aside if
Yeah.
this were approved.
Yeah, yeah.
Commissioners, any thoughts? Ben?
I do have some thoughts.
Yeah.
It's really hard, to balance the need to preserve R1 zoning for residential exclusive use when the neighborhood and neighbors want to, they're asking for some protections for that, and
Yeah.
so that, it does weigh on me. It's not that I'm averse to having people use their property in a way that supplements income and allows them to, to thrive, because I do want that. But, I do think that we have an obligation to listen to the neighborhood, because they do know best what their neighborhood needs and doesn't need. And that's a little different than we have approved these types of uses in the past in residential. But I don't recall a time where we had any conflict about it.
Yeah.
I'm trying to remember one.
And maybe it's moot or maybe it isn't, but, I do have concerns about that. This neighborhood, and I did drive by today, and I inspected and looked around, maybe you guys did too, and it doesn't have any other businesses in the area. This is truly, like, this is the definition of R1 zoning. To my knowledge, maybe there's some other businesses that are operating in the area that I don't know
Yeah.
about. Mike, maybe you know or don't know, I don't know.
I don't know of any
not
that
aware
are
of any.
operating
Yeah,
there. Yep.
so if there was an opportunity to preserve that type of R1, that this would be that opportunity. And I'm inclined to wanna do that, to preserve.
I mean, I think the hard part that I have I agree with a lot of what you're saying, but I also think that, like, that's a hard part of, yeah, I don't know. I mean, like, do we probably have the same conditional use permits for people that operate, whether it's daycares or it's hair salons or it's those types of things, right? I mean, those are all under the same type of thing, home-based business conditional use permits. And I don't know if, maybe, I mean, if I think about where some of those locations are, I don't feel like there's all of a sudden like the neighborhood becomes one that's like rampant with, like, oh, okay, so this is the hair salon and nail section of the community, right? I mean, it's like they're, yeah, I mean, I don't know, I mean, so like, how do you, if the standard is the standard, I guess that's my thing. Like, I totally understand and appreciate what Tom spoke of and what
Yeah.
sounds like some of the neighbors speak of, but, you know, so if, you know, Michelle's place was one block over, like, would the standard be different? And that, to me, it also doesn't seem fair, I guess, in a sense, because if it would work there, because, I mean, I don't know if does it make sense at all what I'm saying? Like, it seems like
I
it's
think
a
it-
geographical situation, not even a zoning situation.
Maybe not, you know, like there may be other systems at play, there may be things that, you know, maybe the relationship isn't there, maybe the yard isn't kept up, or maybe there's already some underlying issues, you know, that might bias a neighbor to say, hey, I don't feel confident that my property value is being protected now. How can I,
Yeah,
right, how is that going to improve?
I have a question. How, obviously, I'm new into all of this, and how does a conditional use permit work? Is something that you can revoke to someone if it doesn't comply with your, you know, like what you say, you know?
So the conditional use permit, well, as the name implies, if we were to approve it, there would probably be conditions. And yes, if you did not comply with those, then it would be revoked, yes.
Okay.
and it does go to the person, not to the property. So
Okay.
if you were
That's
to
right.
sell the property and, and you happen to have a spot, you know, we
Yeah.
approve this with conditions and then you sell it to
Okay.
somebody who also happens to do nails, like,
But,
Yeah.
they would have to come in.
but the city doesn't have the ability to do an interim use permit, right, which is maybe what, I'm not sure what the underlying premise of your question was, like.
Just
we're
wanting
not
to
gonna
know.
Go in and say, all of a sudden, no, you can't do this anymore.
Oh,
No, my question is like
We
in a way.
could. I mean, that's the idea behind it. If they don't meet the conditions, we could revoke the permit. I think the trickier part is, how would we know? And what mechanism would we need to use to verify? And there's a lot of, I mean, we're not a big city, right? We don't have staff
Inspector.
whose job it is to look for and enforce this type of thing. So to put that in place thinking, well, we'll just deal with it if it becomes a problem, we may not be able to very easily.
And it may not be fair if the neighborhood isn't on board with the process to begin with. I mean, then we're turning it into a neighborhood watch,
Certainly wouldn't want to do that.
and that's not a good outcome.
right. Yeah.
Can we take, you had a question, or did you have? You wanna make,
Oh,
Yeah, yeah.
do you have more questions for Michelle?
I don't, no, I'm just talking to you
Yeah.
guys,
Yeah, I
trying to
think
figure out.
we're now in
Yeah.
discussions, but we can take another comment. Did you have a comment, sir? Thanks, Michelle.
Thanks, Michelle.
Hi, my name is Greg Pierce. I live at 409 2nd Avenue West, just directly to the south of Michelle and her planned, or the conditional use permit, I guess, that's in question. And I'm, first off, want to say I'm very grateful for a forum like this, because it helps to answer a lot of questions and then sometimes raises more questions, and then which leads to solutions and understandings. And you know, as if we don't ask those questions, we don't know. And I think I've learned some things even just here tonight, you know, just listening to the neighbors speak, to Michelle speak herself. I have been working or talking with her about her potential use of that garage space. I'm in the construction field, I've been doing it for 40 years myself, and helping them to understand, you know, how that space might fit and what might work together. And, you know, she's had questions about ventilation and things like that, and helping her to walk through those. I myself am very much in favor of them working towards and getting that conditional use permit. And I think the great questions that have been raised about, you know, off-street parking and things like that, they're very valid. And I think they have the accommodations on their property to allow for that parking. Now, it would be nice if there was a way, but as you had alluded to, you know, put that condition in there if there are more than, you know, X number of vehicles, or if a vehicle parks. Again, hard to monitor, because if somebody was, you know, not in favor of it, and if you had somebody come over for just another separate get-together, how do you know that that's a client or not a client? I would hope that the good questions that have been asked would alleviate some of that, like as to the number of clients that she could handle or, you know, do in a day. There wouldn't be people stacked up that I could see coming of it. And, you know, learning that here tonight from her explanations as far as what she does, and I think that helps. You know, not that I had that concern anyway, but I see that, and I respect fellow neighbors and their concerns for that, and I think this wouldn't increase in that. I did speak to the neighbors directly on the north side, and Tom and Julie Nelson all over the weekend, and they were in favor of the project as well. So just to show that there is some support there. I know that, you know, we pride, I think, ourselves in Grand Marais being a very diverse community, and it takes a lot to live up here. And to have a diversity of income sources is important, and businesses, and we don't have some of those, you know, whether or not you call it a luxury item, but a lot of those services are hard to get, hard to find here, and I think this helps provide that, and it helps a young mother to help provide for her family by being able to, you know, step out of her home into her garage, which would be her new space for her nail salon, be able to work with clients for a few hours and come back without having to go and try to rent a retail space somewhere, you know, and be able to bring that income into the family. So I think that's great. We do have a lot of traffic in the area. We do live, you know, while there's truly not businesses there, I think, you know, the traffic that comes from the school and the YMCA, it's very welcome. And from the church and the community center, those are beautiful things. And I think that the thoroughfares and, you know, the things that control traffic there seem to work very well in there. And I think 3-4 clients a day, 3-4 cars a day won't put a burden on the system and you know, cause it to be negative. But just my thoughts, my feelings, and I appreciate you considering
All right,
this
thanks,
action,
Greg.
Yeah, appreciate it.
taking the time.
Yep.
Thank you.
Can I ask a question of Tom? Is that all right? I mean, just
think-
like, I mean, I don't know if you've had conversations about what the plan was. Did you know, like, the number? And I guess hearing what Michelle had said, if like, not that maybe you're like, yeah, now I'm for it, right? Like, cause I assume you would have said like, actually, I'm for it now. But like, does that, any of the stuff, the points that you brought up, I'm just wondering, cause we do care about what the neighbors say, you and the ones that you had listed off. But does that, like, in your sense, if you have a better understanding of how the space will be used, or the conditions that would be in place with off-street parking, which was one of your issues, I mean, and I don't wanna put you on the spot, Tom, but I mean, again, I also, but I'm going
just
to.
considering their response to on-street parking is their driveway has 3 to 4 cars in it all the time. And when a client drives up, they're not gonna pull into the driveway, they're gonna park on the street.
Sure.
And I've noticed increased traffic. I've seen advertisements on Facebook for her services. I can't say that the business is running, but I see single women going into the house and coming back out an hour later, so anyway.
Yeah.
But anyway, it's not against their business, I'm against any business in the residential R1 zone.
Okay.
It's, you want a business across the street from your house? The state of Minnesota requires that there should be a sign on the front of the business. The state of Minnesota requires running water, hot and cold. The state of Minnesota, cosmetology requires, a lot of things in there inspected by the state. And another thing, just, there's nothing, you know, it has to be a separate entrance. You have to have a restroom. The restroom, even if it's not in, they have to have a restroom that has access into the house, but it has to be separate from the house itself. If you look at the Board of Cosmetology, look at the requirements for a nail salon in Minnesota. I just wanna make sure all of those items are checked off.
Thank you for your, concern about it. It does require a restroom, which obviously in my house, I do have 2 restrooms. One on the first, how do you call that, like, level, and then one in the basement. For water, it does require hot and cold water. I do have all that things. I get, obviously, at the moment, I don't have it.
Can I interrupt for just a second? Because I just wanna, like, in general, and I appreciate the concerns and I appreciate the feedback. And as a general rule in the city of Grand Marais, we don't take into account state licensing.
Yeah,
We don't have a
we can't.
mechanism by which we
Yeah.
can track it, we don't have an enforcement mechanism,
Yeah.
just, I understand the concern, I validate the concern, like, some of it's safety related, we certainly want to make sure that, but we don't have the authority to even
Right.
get into that
Which
conversation.
actually,
Nor does it sound like it's really gonna address your major concern, which
Right.
is you don't want businesses in residential neighborhoods. It doesn't
I
matter
want
whether
business
she
in
meets
our
license
residential
requirements or not.
yeah,
Right, right.
yeah, so I,
If it's not appropriate,
okay,
and it's not that any business in R1.
Yeah,
Why do we
we're
have the
not-
R1 residential?
I'm
Right.
thinking, cause it's a nail salon or whatever, it's just any business.
Yeah.
really.
gotcha,
Gotcha.
okay,
I understand it,
Yeah.
I understand you fully.
yeah, thanks. Yeah, I mean, I think where, I am having some challenges is because we have said yes in other circumstances that were only different because of where they were and because of supportive neighbors and that kind of thing. So it makes it harder to say like, oh, in this case, we're not gonna say yes because, you know, and I don't disagree, and it is, I'm just saying it's hard because it's not clear, like, all right. You know, and I hear what you're saying, Mike, about how do we enforce our conditional use permits, but that's kind of on us.
We haven't stopped ourselves from putting
From
conditions
yes,
on
that's
them
what I'm saying.
before.
You know, like we do put on
Yeah,
conditions.
I would just say that if the strategy is, we're not sure about this, but we'll put some conditions on it just in case, it's not a good strategy. If you're sure about it, but you wanna make sure that this is what they're gonna do and we just expect that they're going to and everybody feels good moving forward, that makes more sense. That's usually how we've used conditions is, yep, they've got parking, we know it's set aside for their business, we expect it's gonna be that way as long as the business is operating, no one's walking out of here worried about it or concerned, then they're good. Hours of operation, kind of the same way, if, you know, they say, well, we're gonna be open till 5 and it's reasonable and we don't doubt it, and there's, you know, then we're not gonna go check every Tuesday and make sure they're not open after 5. If we think we need to do that, we probably just should say no, rather than put a condition on it.
You know, and I understand what you're saying, and yes, it's been allowed, yes, we have allowed business and residential use, right? And back to my original was, I don't recall a time that we did that, knowing that there was a vocal group in the immediate area that was opposed to it. I don't recall us, you know,
Yeah.
in fact, I remember several times where we did defer to the neighborhood to kind of adopt or accept what was happening inside of neighborhoods. We have made many concessions over the years to keep the vitality of the community and those neighborhoods intact. And that's where, so that's the differentiator for me personally, is
Yeah.
like we have we have people that have lived there, want to continue living there, don't want the business. That's,
Yeah,
it's not a casual comment when Tom says, would you want one across the street? I don't know the answer to that, right? I can't, I do have one across the street from me,
I do
by the
too.
way, right? That has a permit, and it works out, and I was okay with it, right? Had I not been okay with it, had it been a negative impact to me,
Right.
I would like to know that I had some support.
right. I guess in this case, though, we can see that it's not all no, it's a split
I agree.
to some degree, and like,
To
we
some
don't,
degree.
we don't have numbers, we can't say, well, this, and this, and we didn't take a vote. But it does seem like there is pro and con, so.
As a matter of formality, regardless of what this board decides, it does go to the city council, right? So we only make recommendations, we don't set policy.
Right.
So if it's approved or denied, it still gives you an opportunity to present your case and disagreement to the city council meeting. So just as an FYI.
Yeah,
Well, I don't know whether the city council will be taking people's cases presented at the meeting. That's typically done here and not there, but,
Oh.
I mean, I guess it's up to you guys if that's what the city council
Well, I
wants.
just would imagine if it was, it was contested enough that would be.
Yeah.
and we've definitely seen,
Either way.
right, a few times where
Yeah.
it starts here, goes there, and further discussion happens, yeah.
Well, I'm gonna put a motion to, not recommend the conditional use permit for Miss Mendez.
Okay, well, we have a motion, do we have a second? All right. Do not have a second. I've rarely had this happen. It fails.
Ask for another motion.
Any other motion?
Well, I was expecting, I mean, I guess I was expecting you, listening to your conversation, I was expecting you to second his motion. That's
No.
not the case.
No, I guess I'm thinking that I feel like we've said yes, other times, other places, I got that's not this one. And I don't know, I mean, I feel like when we look around town and think about the in-home businesses that are happening, I feel like this falls in line with that. And I feel like this is how people have made it here. They've put up an ADU and rented it out and made that happen along with doing whatever else they were doing. And we've all had millions of jobs to try and make it work. And I do feel like we can put on conditions, and I don't feel as negative about it. Like I feel like, no, this, from what I'm hearing, it sounds pretty clear to me that well, the conditions that I was thinking about, like, you know, time of day and off-street parking, that kind of thing, that seems like things that we can limit and know something about. Like, we can see the driveway, we can see where they can park, and we can have some idea of when people are coming and going. Not 100%, because it's only one, but to my mind, I feel like there is room to approve. So I would make a motion to approve
With conditions.
with conditions.
You wanna list those conditions now?
I do.
All right.
All right. And those conditions that I would propose, and I'm open to others, is the off-street parking be available, meaning that if you've got room in that driveway, it should be clear for people to park, and that there is a limit of, I think you said 3 o'clock, which I feel like is a fair time to be done by. And those were the two I was thinking about as conditions. But that would be my motion and my conditions.
Number of clients at a time is a condition.
Okay, so one at a time, it seems like we could limit that.
Yeah, I would, the only thing I guess I would say to that is that, not if there's available off-street parking, but you make, it sounds like if there is a possibility
N-
for.
Oh, yeah, no, I meant like, you must.
You
I
must.
meant it as a must.
So not
You
like.
must have.
I mean,
Yeah.
I have off-street parking in my house too, but I also have a kid with a car and a couple of work, you know what I mean? It's
Yeah.
like, there's no, or off-street parking in my
Gotcha.
house. If somebody pulls up, they have to park on the.
Well, that's always the kind of a goofy, like, and I understand the need to put that in the language, but, you know, if taking a car out of the driveway, putting it on the street so that there's room for somebody else to park in the driveway is like,
I don't know
What
the
are you doing?
situation.
We do have space for at least 4 cars. And, you know, right now, during the day, there's always 2 cars. So my wife is always working almost 12, 16 hours a day. So there's always, realistically, if there's 2 cars, there's always space for 2. It's just there is a bank of snow that we are not, you know,
Right,
for the drifts of snow.
yeah.
It's accumulated there and honestly,
I think
it's
what
not-
would,
that it cannot be fixed, you know.
okay. So I think what I would ask for is a delineated space.
Yeah, dedicated.
That's a dedicated space for anybody who would be there. And
But with those conditions, I'd second.
Okay, motion and second. All those in favor? Aye.
no, on the condition that I don't believe that it's compatible use with the existing neighborhood.
Okay. Motion does not pass.
No,
It will pass,
it passes.
even though we're 3,
You are the only 3 members of this board. 2 votes is
is considered the quorum.
is of a majority.
Okay,
Yeah.
Now
awesome.
you guys can talk about it at city council.
Yeah.
All right, well, this will move on to the city council, and that'll be
Next Wednesday.
Next Wednesday.
6:30 in this room.
Thank you.
Thanks, guys.
And I'll be here at
Thank you.
6:30.
Yep.
Thanks to all you guys for coming.
Yep.
Thanks for talking,
Thanks.
Tom.